Okay, so what I learned in class, well, first we read utilitarianism and the moons of Jupiter. So we talked about the greatest happiness principle, which is the feeling it gives you, whatever it is, and the benefit for happiness. And then we also talked about how it's part of utilitarianism, part of consequences with the ism at the end. And then we also talked about what pleasure is. It can be food, music, money, love, like anything in that kind of thing. And we talked about the two types of pleasures, which is like meat, suit, and flesh, which is physical, and then like versus like your mindset and your ideas and like it's like yeah. And then we talked about the how you differentiate how you differentiate pleasure and those kinds of things. So you're gonna have different kinds of love for your dog than you are with your dad and your partner. Like you're not gonna love your dad the same way you love your partner, and you're not gonna love your partner the same way you love your dog. Like you have different pleasures and love for them. So that's how you kind of like differentiate. And we talked about quantity versus quality. You like how it's important, how quality is more important than quantity because you want something that's going to be good. Because we also talked about like in class we were talking about biscuits and gravy versus barbecue, like how we kind of, oh my god, forget that part, sorry. But what we were talking about was the quality versus quantity. And then we talked about where is it, sorry, how you'd rather be a human dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. You don't want like the low bare minimum basic stuff, but if you're human dissatisfied, you understand the difference of pleasures and like being satisfied and dissatisfied. As a pig, you won't know, you're just happy to be there kind of thing. So that's what we talked about for that. And then we said ignorance is bliss. Like once you learn something, you can't put it back. Like it's really hard. That's why when we talked about how we, in the beginning, when we said about biscuits, like having the best biscuits of your life, and then now you can't go back down. So ignorance is bliss because like once you have something, you can't put it back, like those biscuits. So you don't want to kind of be in that. And then we talked about our standards of expectations because we read, it is indisputable that the being whose capacities of enjoyment are low has the greatest chance of having them fully satisfied. So you have your own standards of expectations with everything. And like I said, quality over quantity. The quality of things that makes like fools and like pigs happy are low. And then we also, towards the end, we were just talking about how like we make our own happiness and consequences. So it's you're gonna have greater pleasures if they're like your mindset rather than physical. And that's how it is like for everyone. So then we read the moons of Jupiter. First off, right off the bat, we talked about Janet labels and doesn't like it when they don't fit it. Like she labels everyone and has this idea of them, and if they don't fit it, she's not very happy with it. And then how Nicola is kind of self-centered, and she can't. Dad. Oh my God, sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble today. Jeanette's focused on her dad dying and all that. And then there's things that we can and can't control. So we talked about artifice, whatever that is. It's like the truth and facts. So like we don't really know the full truth. We talked about in class how the first cat looked. Like whoever decided to name a cat, we don't know what the cat looks like. Like we don't know the full truth. So you're not gonna know everything. And that we kind of brought it back to Socrates. So yeah, we kind of talked about that, and basically in her whole passage, she doesn't know all the facts, but she's acting like she does. So like the great red spot of Jupiter, she obviously doesn't know what it is. We know I didn't know, but we know it's a storm, but we don't know what the storm is, what it looks like or anything, but she's acting like she does know. How everyone labels things. You see someone and you kind of label them before you even know anything. So yeah, it's kind of my understanding of everything we learned about with the moons of Jupiter is we put labels on everything without even actually fully knowing anything. And we like to act like we know everything without getting the full understanding. Like there's no one's willing to be like, I don't know. So we put these labels on them. And then we also talked about how assuming and labeling, because she said who she thought was the head nurse was a gray-haired, kind, and serious-looking woman. So she assumed and labeled just like everyone else does. Like, she doesn't really know. But yeah, that's kind of what I got from that. Basically, if you don't know, it's fine, but we like to label and pretend that we do know.